Chapter 8. A Surprise Phone Call. It was 7 o'clock when Tom arrived in Taksim Square. He got out of the taxi and walked towards his hotel. He felt nervous. Was someone watching him? Was someone sitting in a car watching his hotel? He hurried inside. "Good evening," said the woman at reception. "Good evening," said Tom. He took his room key and went upstairs. He locked his door, took off his shoes, and lay down on the bed. He felt tired, but nervous and excited at the same time. For a long time, he lay on the bed, listening to the noises in the street outside and thinking about one person, Angela. The phone rang. It rang loudly, and Tom jumped nervously. "Kemal," he thought, and picked up the receiver. "Yes?" "This is reception, Mr. Smith. I have a call for you." "Thank you," said Tom. "Hello? Is that Tom Smith?" It was a woman's voice. "Yes? Who is that?" Tom asked. His heart was beating fast. "You don't know me, Mr. Smith, but I'm a friend of Angela's. I've something to tell you. Can we meet somewhere? Who are you?" "My name is Julie. As I said, I'm a friend of Angela's. Listen, I don't want to talk on the phone. Can we meet somewhere?" Yes, sure," said Tom, thinking quickly. "Do you know the American bar at the Park Hotel?" "I know it. I'll be there in 20 minutes. There was a click, and then there was silence. Tom put the phone down and jumped to his feet. "I must tell Kemal," he said to himself. He picked up the phone. "Reception? Can I have Istanbul 368245? Tom waited impatiently. "Sorry, sir, there is no answer," said the woman at reception. "Okay, I'll try later." Tom put the phone down and left the room. There were only a few people in the American bar when Tom went in. He sat down at a table by a window. From there he could see everyone who came through the door. Tom sat drinking a beer and watching the door. Who was Julia? What did she want? Tom would soon find out. A girl came in a few minutes later. She had long blonde hair and was wearing jeans. The girl looked around the bar, then walked over to Tom's table. "Hi," she said. "I'm Julie." "Hello," he said. "I'm Tom. Please sit down." She sat down. The waiter came over. "Would you like a drink?" said Tom. "Coffee, please," she said. The waiter nodded and left. "So you're Tom," Julie said. "You look just like your photograph. Angela showed me a picture of you." "But how did you find me?" Tom asked. "I went to the British consulate today," Julie explained. "I spoke to Mr. Pennington. He told me the name of your hotel. I knew you were coming to Istanbul and I wanted to speak to you." She looked round nervously. "Listen, Tom," she went on. "There's something strange going on. What do you know about Angela's accident?" "Only what the consulate told me today," said Tom. He told Julie about his conversation with Mr. Pennington. "And are you satisfied?" she asked. Tom looked at her. "Tell me what you think," he said slowly. "All right," said Julie. "Let's start at the beginning. Angela came to Istanbul 2 months ago. I met her at a party soon after she arrived and we became good friends. At the beginning, she was happy. She enjoyed her job. She liked working for her boss, Dinya. That's right. Everything was fine. I saw her quite often. We used to have lunch together and go sightseeing. And then, 2 weeks ago, something happened. Angela seemed worried about something to do with her work. I asked her what was wrong, but she didn't want to talk about it. Then one lunchtime, we were together in a restaurant, and suddenly Dinya came in. The moment she saw him, she became nervous. I think she was afraid of him." "Go on," Tom said. Well, I don't know anything else. She never told me what she was worried about. I saw her a few more times and then she had the accident. She looked at home. But it's strange, isn't it? Julie went on. She was worried about something. Her job or her boss or something. But she wouldn't talk about it. And then she had an accident. She stopped. That's all, she said. That's what I wanted to tell you. Tom leaned across the table. Shall I tell you something? He said quietly. Yesterday, on the way into Istanbul, I saw her. Julie stared at him. Where? She asked. I was in the airport bus coming into the city. We were in Mill Street near Aksaray. Angela was going into a building with two men. What do you mean, going into a building? Which building? Well, I don't know. There are a lot of offices in the building. I went there today. There was a dentist and a doctor. Doctor, said Julie. That's interesting. What do you mean? Angela had a virus 2 weeks ago, a bad attack. She was getting pills from a doctor. That explains it. She needed more pills or treatment. She was going to a doctor. Tom thought for a moment. So that's where she was going, he said. To the doctor's. Maybe I can go and ask the doctor a few questions. Julie looked worried. Be careful, Tom, she said. What do you mean? Just be careful, she repeated. Something strange is happening. It could be dangerous for you if you ask too many questions. Okay, said Tom. But I'm sure Angela is in the city somewhere. She's in trouble. The police and the consulate say she's dead, so they won't help. But I think she's alive. She's in Istanbul somewhere, and I'm not leaving until I find her. Chapter 9. Goodbye, Mr. Dinya. Later that evening, Tom phoned Kemal. He told him about his meeting with Julie. Kemal listened while Tom explained what had happened. Okay, he said when Tom had finished. Listen, I think I understand what's happening. Angela was working for Dinya, right? Yes. And then she was worried about something at work, right? Yes. Okay, and then she had her accident. But it wasn't an accident. Tom, you know what I think? I think Angela is alive. She is here, somewhere in Istanbul. Dinya is holding her prisoner. What? Think about it, Tom. Angela was worried about something at work. We think it was something to do with Dinya and his export business. And now she's disappeared. But she isn't dead. There was no car accident. Dinya is holding her prisoner, I'm sure of it. But, began Tom. I don't... Listen, Tom, continued Kemal. What about the man in the Topkapı Palace today? The man who followed us. You know what I think, Tom? I think Dinya and his friends have been watching you since you arrived in Istanbul. They know where you are staying, they know you went to the consulate, and that's how they followed us to the palace today. They know everything about you, Tom. God, said Tom quietly. My God, Kemal, I think you're right. You must be right. But what are we going to do now? I'll tell you, said Kemal. They know where you're staying and they know you're looking for Angela. That's why they're watching you. They want to find out what you do next. Well, I'll tell you what you're going to do next. You're going to leave Istanbul. Now, listen. Next morning, Tom checked out of his hotel. Thank you, he said to the receptionist, and goodbye. Leaving Istanbul? Yes, I'm going home. Goodbye, sir. Have a good journey. Tom took a taxi to Dinya's office. The driver stopped outside. Wait here, please, said Tom. I'll be back in a few minutes. He went into the office. Good morning, I said to the secretary. Is Mr. Dinya here? I've come to say goodbye. She went to the office. Mr. Dinya came out. Oh, Mr. Smith. Good morning, Mr. Dingham. I've come to say goodbye. Leaving so soon? Yes, I went to the British consulate yesterday and spoke to Mr. Pennington. It seems there is nothing I can do here. I'm going back to London. Thank you for your help. You're welcome, Mr. Smith. Once again, I'm very sorry about your fiancé. I'm sorry your visit to Istanbul wasn't a happy one. Thank you, and goodbye. My plane leaves at midday. At midday? I see. Goodbye, Mr. Smith. Have a good journey. The two men shook hands. Tom turned and left the office. His taxi was waiting. The airport, please, he said as he got in. The taxi moved off. Another car, parked 20 meters away, moved away from the pavement and started following. At the airport, Tom walked over to the British Airways desk. He asked about the flight to London, but he didn't check in. Then he bought a newspaper and sat down to wait. He looked around the busy airport. Somewhere among all these people, he thought someone is watching me. He opened his newspaper and started reading. Then there was an announcement over the loudspeaker. British Airways announced the departure of their flight TK979 for London. Will passengers please proceed to gate 6 for boarding? Tom picked up his things and walked towards passport control. There were lots of people at the entrance to passport control. Tom went into the crowd of people and moved towards a large man whose relatives were saying goodbye. Suddenly, he turned and went into the men's toilets. In the toilet, he took off his jacket and started to wash his hands and face. No one followed him into the toilet. Then there was another announcement. British Airways flight TK979 for London. This is the final announcement. Will passengers please proceed immediately to gate 6? This gate is now closing. Tom heard the announcement but didn't move. He looked at his watch and smiled to himself. The man in the grey raincoat walked over to the telephone kiosk and dialed the number. Hello, I saw him leave. Yes, he's on the plane. The man put the phone down and walked away towards the exit. Half an hour later, Tom was in a taxi on his way to Kemal's flat in Sicily. Kemal opened the door. Hello, Tom, he smiled. Everything okay? No problem, smiled Tom. I went into the crowd at passport control. Then I hid in the toilet at the last minute. Well done. Dinya and his friends will think you have gone back to London. Now you can stay here in my flat and we can start looking for Angela. And we know where to start, don't we? Yes, Dinya's office, replied Kemal.